Good afternoon. This is the backyard to the Memphis Library. We have several gardens that people have planted and they maintain them. When I say maintain, that means that they keep track of what is growing and what is not, and it's their decision to put what they want where they want it. And we have a big backyard for those of you who've never been in Memphis. This is what our backyard looks like. That's our table where we're going to be doing some of our work today. But you see, people have taken a lot of care to make sure that their garden looks pretty and is just fun to look at. Do you see the horse in this one? And I don't know. We don't usually let people step in the garden, but he's upside down, so we will fix the dogs. Oh, and we have a sheep that's on his side, so we will set him back up also. Unfortunately, we can't maintain the squirrel activity, so I'm guessing that's how things get knocked over. So this is our garden. Oh, yes, and there's a squirrel way over there looking for whatever it is these squirrels look for. I'm just glad he's not inside the library. So today we are going to work on this section of the flower bed over here, this part that sticks out. This is my section. And what we have here is a lot of flowers that bees like, bees and butterflies, but we are going to make it just a little more appealing for butterflies. So we are going to put in some bee balm, and that's what those are. These are black-eyed Susans, so we've got to kind of weed those out, because if you look real carefully, there's a lot of them around. So we need to get rid of them. This is a lavender bush or plant. So we are going to put that in the ground. This is what they call sedum, and that gets really pretty in the fall. The flower, as it gets colder, turns more red. So that's fun to watch. This is echinacea. That's a tough word to say. It's a whole lot easier to remember coneflower. And butterflies like that. So we're going to leave those in there. And if we circle all the way around, and you know, I mentioned the black-eyed Susans, but you may not know what a black-eyed Susan looks like because they're not flowering yet. They are like a daisy with yellow petals and black centers. This is what they call a blanket flower. And again, these are the petals, and see how pretty they are? Those are actually quite big petals. And then they have the colored center. Bees and butterflies both like that. A lot of the flowers that are in here, both bees and butterflies enjoy. And then we have these plants that we are also going to put in the ground. They are called Sylvia. Oh no, those are Veronicas. And again, there's lots of flowers on there so that the bees and the butterflies, they can just sip the nectar and take the pollen out as they need. Miss Laura has some wild flowers. that she is going to plant.
It's milkweed.
So if you would explain that to us.
This is common milkweed, and monarch butterflies eat this exclusively. So if you have a lot of, they don't look real good right now because I pulled them out of my yard and we're going to plant them here. But if you have a lot of milkweed in your yard, you can go and look for monarch caterpillars and eggs on your milkweed plants, because this is all that monarchs eat. They lay their eggs on the leaves. The caterpillars eat the leaves, and then they will go somewhere and make their cocoon.
You said that they lay their egg on there, and then you pointed to the back side.
Most of the time, that's where you'll find the eggs, is underneath the leaves.
Are there any on them now?
I was looking before. I don't see any. They're usually little white spots, but I don't. All of these little white spots, I believe, are sap.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any on here right now.
But they don't have to worry, because we do have in the library a caterpillar that turned into a chrysalis. And we will show you this when it's all done, because we do have a caterpillar waiting to hatch. So what's in the box?
The box is from last year's milkweed pods from my yard.
Wow.
In a gourd. That's a gourd.
That's a lot of seeds.
It is a lot of seeds. Each milkweed usually will have 5 or 6 pods on it, and each pod has hundreds of seeds inside that have these little silkies. The silkies help blow the seeds through the wind or get stuck to a deer or me, and then they land on the ground and they grow the next year.
So if your dog is running through the field, because I don't know, do these grow in the woods?
I'm not sure about the woods. They like to grow in fields and ditches.
Okay, so if my dog is running through a ditch or a field, and he could grab, or the seeds will attach to him.
They can attach to him, or when he runs through, it sends them up into the air, and they float around until they land. But yes, I have actually found milkweed fuzzies on my dog.
Okay, so we are going to get our ground ready, and then we will show you what we planted where. Now?
Yep.
So there's a reason you do this in the spring, because the ground is a little more soft than what it is on a hot July afternoon. If you look at this, it's just really, really dry. So that's kind of my hole that I have made for my Veronica. And I just take it out of the pot, and I always throw those, and then I get my exercise picking them up. I'm going to break up the root system just a little bit so that it can suck in the water. I'm going to squish the mosquito that's on my arm, and then just push the dirt around it. Now, there's more than just dirt here. I know you can see that too. We have wood chips all in here on everybody's bed, because wood chips act as mulch, and so it helps keep the plants moist a little bit longer when it rains. So there's that. So we planted that one. I'm going to take this one back home with me, because I think we're pretty good here. And as you can see, our blanket flower is there. Our bee balm is here. And see, look at all this just really, really clay soil, but we're going to put the soil back in. Get rid of that. And I'm going to step over here. We have our lavender and then our sedum. When you come in the early spring, We sometimes have bulbs, tulips, crocuses, that are also planted here. The idea is to have something blooming from spring on till fall, and that's our goal, my goal. So, this, you know, I told you that we have people that maintain. This is a weed, and we don't want that. So we're gonna get rid of some of these, but you have to know we're trying to make this butterfly friendly. So the goal is to have not only plants that butterflies like that we can get at the store, but there are a lot of plants that are just natural to Michigan that we can also plant. So what we are going to do is over here, we have, I'm gonna have to double check. I don't know if that's catnip or not. I'm gonna have to double check my book.
It looks like it.
But this is where we will plant our milkweed, and I have some Queen's Anne's lace. I don't have the plant, I have the flower, and I will show that to you, and we will plant that here, and we'll just kind of let that take over this area, because those are wildflowers, and depending on the type of butterfly, you like those as well. Yellow swallowtails. Yeah, did I say that right, Laura?
The second time, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yellow swallowtails.
Yellow swallowtails like Queen's Anne's lace. There's a lot of S's there.
There are. And monarchs like the milkweed.
Like the milkweed. So those are the two things that we are going to plant. So we're going to get this ready, and then we'll show you what it looks like when we're done.
This is the before.
Yes, and there's a lot of weeds here that we're just going to leave. We're not going to try to take care of all of those because
It's a little too warm for that today.
It's a little too warm, first of all. But again, we want the natural look. And so that's what we'll get with this little area.
All right, we'll be back.
Shove some seeds
So
down
Miss Laura has planted her milkweed right there. Aren't they pretty? Hopefully they will perk back up in a few hours.
And you know what the thing is, even if they don't, the roots are in there for next year.
Yes.
So they will be fine.
Yes, milkweed come up from the previous year as long as you don't pull the roots out of the ground. So you can mow them over and they'll still come back up, which is good for the monarchs.
So now we are going to
Oh, look, there they go.
let our seeds go.
There goes some already.
And you said you planted some like just in a pile?
Yep, I have a pile down here that I stuck in the dirt and covered back up with mulch. And we're going to do that down next to the milkweeds that we just planted also.
Oh, that breeze feels wonderful. Oh, it stuck to me. I don't want a milkweed growing on me. There we go.
There, see, and this is how Mother Nature makes sure that her plants come up again every year, even if they are mowed over or eaten or dug out by a great big bulldozer like my backyard.
Are you saying that you're like Mother Nature? Or you're
Maybe I'm her helper.
okay. We'll call you her helper.
We are her helpers.
I like to play Mother Nature,
Yes.
so
Okay, we're gonna.
show them how you plant that, and I'm going to go get my Queen's Anne's lace.
All right. Don't mind my hand. So they don't need to get too deep, but we are just sticking some of the seeds from last year down into the dirt and the mulch right in here. See, this is one of our milkweed plants that we just transplanted. They don't have to be a certain distance apart either, like some of your plants that your mom or your grandma or your dad plant in your garden where they need to be a certain distance apart to grow well. That does not matter with milkweed. And I don't believe it matters with Queen Anne's lace either, because I've also seen those growing pretty close together in the ditches.
Well, the thing with a wildflower is that they grow just wherever nature plants them. So this is the flower. I actually pulled this off of my plant at home. This is the flower, and what will happen is that it will curl up and turn brown, curl, 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 and inside, get off me, inside are little seeds, and so it should replant itself.
All right.
That fly likes me.
Yes, he does. He must be sweet.
I must be. So I am going to play Mother Nature, and I'm just going to toss it, and we'll see what happens
All right.
next year.
So it's back here by our fence.
Yep, and by that post.
And our vine here.
Yep, this is a trumpet vine, so we have to remember that. That's where it is. And we'll see
By
if it,
the trumpet vine.
yeah, we'll see if it comes back.
All
And
right,
if not, it's
down
not
in there.
really the end of the world.
And there
We'll
are
just redo it.
milkweed and our milkweed seeds.
So we have planted flowers for butterflies to get nectar from, bees to get pollen from, to keep just nature going and things going.
What do the bees do with the pollen, Miss Carol?
The bees make well, actually the pollen, they kind of feed their little new bees.
New bees.
They feed the new bees. Sorry. They feed the new honeybees the pollen. And then with that and the nectar, they make honey. And we all like honey.
Yes, we do. What happens with the pollen when they land on other plants?
Well, that's called pollination. And what they do is the pollen from one flower goes to another flower, and it just helps that plant to flower and make more seeds. So for example, a tomato, it has a little yellow flower. It has to have a bumblebee. This is the coolest part. It's a bumblebee, and the vibration of the bumblebee that actually shakes that little yellow blossom just right so that the pollination happens and whatnot, and
you get a tomato.
And they get a tomato.
Wow.
So without a bumblebee, there would be no tomatoes.
Oh, so that's why our bees are important.
Our bees are very important.
So don't smush bees.
No. Yeah. But now that we have things for the butterflies to feed on, we are going to make something for the butterflies so that they can drink. And hopefully, if we're in the shade, we'll be away from the flies that like me.
Yes.
So Miss Laura is making a butterfly puddler. And what we've done is we've combined beach sand, compost manure from my friend's horse, and water. And the reason we use those things is because the sand holds a lot of water, and the horse manure, when it dries, it will when the water dries, the horse manure will have salt minerals come to the top, and boy butterflies like the salt from the horse manure, and so that's how they get their nutrients. We are also going to add a couple of apples so that as they get less enjoyable for something that we would want to eat, the butterflies can take their proboscis, which is their long tongue, and it's actually shaped more like a straw than a tongue, but they could get the sugar out of it. And we are going to pick that up. It's heavy, so be careful. And we are going to place it right over here. And I think if you turn it the other way, it flips. It's more flat.
Oh.
That's really what I want it to do, is sit flat. So I thought. There. Yep. So that is a way of feeding them. And then we also have an upside down bottle. If I can do that without falling over. That has a little divot in it. See how there's water in there? And so then they can sit on the edge of the bottle and they can drink from there. And way up here in our tree, I took a suet box and I put an apple and an orange in there as well. And they can feed off of that. And that might also attract hummingbirds as well as butterflies. And we have another puddler over here by our natural garden also. So we should be all set with feeding and watering and entertaining the butterflies in our garden. So feel free to stop by anytime you are in the area and take a look at what we have going on back here. We just always ask that you not pick the flowers and you stay out of the beds, but you can always come take a look and see what's blooming and what creatures you can see, whether they be butterflies or bees. Several books, and these all came from Memphis, so it doesn't matter. Wherever you are in the county, you can request these and we will send them to your library. These two are just on butterflies, identifying them. And look at those cool pictures.
Those are beautiful butterflies.
They are beautiful butterflies. And then you can look at the page and then you can read more about the butterfly, maybe where it's found and what kind of plants that it likes. And this one is pretty much the same thing. It's a way to identify and to figure out what it is you are looking at. I saw this really, really pretty silverish, brown, grayish kind of thing with a blue head on one of my milkweed at home. And I went, oh, that's cool. So I snapped a picture of it. And then when I found it, I realized it was actually a moth, not a butterfly.
How can you tell the difference?
You can tell the difference by the antenna. And a moth antenna has little feathers that reach out from it, whereas a butterfly does not. So that's where this will come in handy, because it will tell you whether it's a butterfly or a moth. We all see those little white things flying around and we think, oh, look at all the butterflies.
There's one over there.
Yes. They're not butterflies. Those are pesky moths that will eat your garden.
Ooh, that's not good.
If you can catch them, you can use them as compost mulch in your flower bed. And these are just some other books that I found in the library about
a butterfly.
I know. I love Dr. Seuss, so why not Oh My, a Butterfly? And this one, I'm trying to think if it was this one, that told me how to catch them. See if I can find it real quick. Tells you how to make a butterfly garden, preparing for an adventure, how to take pictures.
Oh,
here it is. Using a butterfly net.
that's quite a net.
That is quite a net. So it tells you how to catch a butterfly, and it says to move slowly when you try to catch them in a net. Many butterflies fly away if you move quickly toward them. Carefully pick up the ones you catch. Grasp them underneath their thorax, so underneath their body. You don't want to touch their wings because you could remove their scales. And if a butterfly loses too many scales, they won't fly very well. And you can also damage a butterfly. So, and they could die. So you don't want to do that. And you don't ever keep them in a jar to say, oh, how pretty are they? You need to catch them, look at them. You can put them in a jar for like maybe 5 minutes so that you can look at them really closely, but then let them go. And there's all sorts of books where butterflies grow. And again, it tells you all about butterflies and all sorts of different kinds. And then this one, who does this remind you of? If you come to story time in Memphis, or you remember Miss Laura from K-Pack, you might think, wow, they have her on a book. No, this is Velma Gratch.
I do.
And the way cool. And she does. She has hair exactly like this. It's red and it's curly. And when she sees a butterfly, she looks just like that.
I do look like that when I see a butterfly.
So these are some books. If you can't remember the titles of these, all you have to do is call your library and say, I want some butterfly books, and we can help you find them. One last thing before we go, we are going to show you our chrysalis that's in the library. So,
all right. So we are going to attempt to show you through the screen. We have a chrysalis. Where's my finger? Down a little bit. There we go.
oh, there we go, right there.
We have a chrysalis right here. You can see it's attached to the carrot stalk. And it is 2 different colors of green right now. That was a yellow swallowtail caterpillar that made its chrysalis on Miss Judy's carrot plants. So Miss Judy now is patiently waiting for this butterfly to eclose. That's what it's called when they hatch. So she can eat her carrots. He's about ready. He was anytime between today and next Saturday. His cocoon will turn brown, and that's when we know he's about to come out. So we will take pictures of that. Hopefully we might be able to actually catch him coming out of his cocoon and record it. But if not, we will have pictures. This is our butterfly enclosure. This is used when you find a butterfly, or when you find a caterpillar and would like to watch it turn into a butterfly.
So there.
Right there. Can we see it?
Yep.
There it is. And you see how it's 2 different shades of green? That will eventually turn brown when he's about ready to come out.
And then Miss Judy can eat her carrots.
She will be very happy to eat her carrot.
So I hope you've learned a lot from all of this, and go enjoy butterflies.
Good morning. It's Monday morning, and we came into the library today to find we have a friend. Our swallowtail eclosed. That's what they call emerging from your cocoon or your pupa. Sometime over the weekend. So we are going to let him out, and you get to watch us let him out. See him flying around in there? We have, where is it? What's left of his cocoon is here. It turned brown before he decided he wanted to come out. All right, he wants out really bad. So here we go. Let's see if, I don't think he's gonna let me pick him up.
Oh, there he is.
Oop, there he goes.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, butterfly. Holy cow.